Hello, good morning. I'll before starting the session, I'll give you a quick recap on the topics what we discussed yesterday. So we have gone through the keywords in ABAP, data to define a memory, constant to define the fixed values. What is use of parameters? What is use of parameter keyword to define the user inputs? Okay, to accept inputs from the user before executing the program. Write statement to display the output. Select options to provide multiple values as input. This is also one of the input option. What is the use of move? Moving data from one memory to another memory. Select to select the data from database tables. Read the record. Loop to process list of records. What is the use of sort? Sort the records by
Ascending or descending.
ascending or descending. Okay. Insert to insert new record. Update. What is the use of update?
Update the executable record.
Existing record which is already there in the database table. Okay. And what is modify?
Is also
Mm. it
set
will
and update.
it will update the record. The record is already available in the database. Okay. If the record is not available, it's going to create as a new record. Insert plus update. It's combination of insert plus update. Very important interview question. And delete to delete the records from the database table. And clear to clear the memory, clear, free, and refresh. These are all related to clearing the memory. Okay, we have gone through the data types, different data types available in ABAP. Character type can accept any type of data including alphabets, numbers, and special characters. Number type can accept only numbers. We use it for any general attributes like phone number, pin code, these kind of data. Okay, we do not use numbers for values. Okay, which is related to some amount or quantity, we are not going to use. Okay, date, it accepts date as input. The internal date format is 8 YYYYMMDD, that is SAP's internal date format. External date format is 10. This is the output format, including separators. Time, to maintain the time value. Here also we have internal length and external length. External length contains the separator, hours, minutes, and seconds. String, when you don't know the exact length of a specific character type value, we go for string length, variable length. Okay. If you want to fix length of the data, can we use string? If you want to restrict certain length for certain value, for example, if you want to restrict 40 characters, allowed characters are 40 for the name, which one we take? We need to take character type or string type?
Character.
We need to take character type. Okay. Integer data type accept numerical values, including positive and negative values. Okay. It won't accept the decimals. If we pass decimal value, what will happen with the integer data type? It will round the value, okay, to the
Right.
nearest value. Okay, either upper limit or lower limit. Okay, lower floor or seal. It will round the value. So can we use integer for currency or any amount kind of calculations?
Not not possible.
No, no, because it will round the value. So we cannot calculate, right, accurate values. Okay, there is no precision calculation, right? In any business, even if you take the banking system, even one paisa also makes crores of rupees, right? Even one paisa difference in the all transactions, it will make thousands of crores, right? So that's why in the calculation of amount, precision is very important. So that's why we use packed decimal for amounts, because we can use up to 14 decimal places. Okay, so that we can capture the exact value as much as possible by using decimal places. Okay, floating point, it is for scientific values. Okay, it is for scientific values. We can use a floating point. Hexadecimal to store the hexadecimal values. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So I'm talking about integer. When we talk about integer, I'm saying that we don't use it for a currency or any quantity, right? Then for which value we can, what type of values we can use integer? Can you tell me one example? Number we can use for pin code, phone number, these kind of values, because they are not the tangible values, right? They are just attributes. Then in which case we go for integer? I'll give you an example. To count something, to count total population, right? To count total population. So such kind of examples we can go for integer for as a counter value. Okay, is everyone clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Let's log into SAP and let's see. Yesterday we created a simple program. Go to remote desktop connection to log in into SAP. Enter the IP address, username and password. Click on connect. Yes, it will connect you to the remote desktop system where all the SAP related servers and configuration is completed. You don't need to do anything. Just go to SAP logon. On the desktop, you can see SAP logon, or you can also search for SAP logon. SAP logon. Okay, double click to open. When you join in any project, the prerequisite to use SAP login is you need to create the server connection here. You need to create the server connection here, or sometimes basis administrators, they'll give you one file. If you keep that file in your some folder, right, they'll let you know the exact folder, SAP GUI folder. If you place that file right in that SAP GUI folder, all the server connections will be automatically added to the SAP GUI. Or if you want to add it manually, go to create, click on connection, or I'll create one more time. I'll create this S4 HANA 2023 connection as one more system. First, let me see the details of this system connection. Change it. Description can be anything, any meaningful description. System ID should be system ID, instance number, and application server should be provided by the system administrator. Okay, we have to ask system administrator for these details, or your colleague if they are already using it. Okay, they have to provide these details. The description can be anything. So system ID is A4H, instance number 22, and application server S4H 2023. A4H 2022. Okay. Let me create a new connection. Create connection. Click on next. Provide the description. I'm just providing S4 HANA as name, or S4 2023. Any name can be given. So what is the system ID? A4H, right? What is the instance
Yes.
number? 22 or 21?
Yes.
22, I think. Okay, let's try this. I provided the application server. Here it is like a normal name, but usually sometimes we provide IP address also here. Okay. So application server address we are going to provide here. That should be provided by the basis consultants. Finish. Click on finish. Now your connection is added. Double click to access it. Okay. Now we are able to access that server. You need a user ID and password to log in. Enter the user ID and enter the password. Okay. So now we logged into the system. So based on the language selection, you can change the display language. Observe the names here. It's an English language, right?
Yes,
Because
sir.
we log in using EN. Let me try with a different language. Language should be configured in the system. Let me try with JP. JP means Japanese. Japanese is not configured in this training server. Let me try with DE. DE means German. Okay. Yeah, German language is configured. Now observe these names. Is this in English?
No.
No, these are automatically converted into German, all the options. Okay, all the options are automatically converted into the German. Even when we execute the program, it will display the output in German language. Okay, SAP provides automatic language translation.
User friendly.
Yeah, user friendly in the sense different countries can use this product, right? If they use only in English, so all the Saudi and these kind of countries, they don't use English as their official language.
Yes, sir.
So when you are developing the applications, you need to keep in mind that whether your client is in only one geographic location or your client operates in different countries where they use different official languages. Okay, when you are developing any application, you need to make sure if your client footprints are in different countries, you need to make sure the application should work according to the language login option. Okay, if user logged in from Japan, they should be able to see that output in the Japanese. You should keep that in mind. Okay, when you are developing the application. Okay, how to
Yes,
create
sir.
a simple program? What is the transaction code?
SC38.
SC38 ABAP Workbench or ABAP Editor. Yesterday we created one program, ZDemo first program. Display it since it is already available. This is our program yesterday. What the program what we have created yesterday with simple output. Okay, I'm changing the program. You can create a new program as well, but program name should not be repeated. Please make sure it won't allow duplicate name for the program. Okay, now we are just displaying the output, right? A hard coded value. Are we giving any choice for the user to change the output? Depends on their requirement.
No.
Every time, whenever you execute the program, it will display the same output. There is no choice or there is no chance of changing the output. If we need to provide an option for the user to change the value, how can we do that?
Define the parameter or select option.
So we need to provide input options. We need to provide input options for the user. So how to define a input? Using
Parameters.
parameters. Parameters. Parameters is the keyword. Okay. Parameters. Name. Parameter name. Name can be anything. Name can be anything, but always try to provide some meaningful name. For example, p underscore value. This name can be anything. This name can be anything. You can give any name, right? But usually we give some meaningful name so that by looking at that parameter value, we should be able to identify the purpose of that parameter. Okay. Then what is the type of the value? Is it a character data, number type data, integer data, date, time, or packed decimal for currency value. What type of input it is?
Character type.
Let's say we just need to print some character type data. Type, we need to define the type C. What is C means?
Character.
Character. And how many characters you need to accept? For that, length. What is the maximum character length allowed? For example, 20. Now it created a input parameter. It created a input parameter with the character type 20. So it can accept up to 20 characters as input. Now save the program. I have defined the parameter. Save the program. Check the program and activate the program. Now can you tell me what is the expected output?
Yeah, I think user is going to enter the
Depend on the user.
Okay, I'm executing the program. Now it is not directly displaying the output screen. First it is displaying what type of screen is it? It is selection screen. We
Display.
call this as selection screen. Okay, where user enters the inputs. Okay, we call this screen as a selection screen. Please make a note. This is called selection screen where we enter the where users enter the inputs. It created an input option. So I've entered some input here. This is the input value. Now, again, I need to execute the program. So what is the expected output? If I execute the program, what should be the expected output?
This is input value, I think.
First program output. It is still displaying this. Why? Go back to the program. So we defined an input parameter and we are providing a value for the input parameter. But are we passing that input parameter in the right statement?
No.
No, right? So whatever the value we kept in the right statement, it will just display it. That's it, right? Since we did not change it, so it won't display the parameter input. You need to place that parameter here. So instead of hard-coded value. So how to place the parameter? Remove this p underscore value. Do we need to use single quotes? Do we need to use single quotes here for parameter? No, because it's not a hard-coded value. Okay, it is a dynamic value. So you don't need to use single quotes. If you use single quotes, it will print this value, p underscore value. It won't consider it as a parameter. Okay, now save, check, activate, execute the program, provide the input value and execute. This is the input value. Okay, now whatever the value entered by the user, it is displaying in the output. This is the output F8. So it is displaying that. Okay, this is how we can use a parameter as input option. How many parameters we can define for a program? We can define multiple based on your requirement. Okay, we'll see select options later. Okay, where we provide multiple values as input. Is everyone clear about parameter?
Yes, sir.
Now when we use parameter, it created a memory. It created a memory, right? With the character type and length 20. Is this memory permanent? Whatever the memory created here, for p underscore value is the parameter name. We created a memory for this. This memory is local to the program. Okay, this memory is local to the program only. It won't store that value permanently. Whatever the value you entered in the input, right? It won't store that value permanently. It is temporary. As long as the program executed, it holds that value. That's it. Okay. Now, for example, if we need to create a memory, not an input, to store some value, we need some memory. How to define some memory? Using data statement. Using data statement, we can define some memory location for the program variables. Okay. For example, lv underscore output. I've taken one variable. Variable can accept only single value. How many values can this variable accept? Single value. For example, name or employee ID or phone number. Any one single value it can accept. And what is the type of this? Type C length 15. So this is the variable. We created a memory for the variable. What is the maximum length allowed for this variable?
15.
15 characters. Okay. So variable can accept a single value. Okay. So it will create a temporary memory location in the program application server. Okay. It will create a temporary memory location in the application server. So where this program will be executed? In the application server, right? So it will create a temporary memory location in the application server with this name lv output. To pass any value to the variable, how to pass the value? For example, lv underscore output equal to lv underscore output equal to test value within the single quotes. This is how you pass value to the variable, or you can pass parameter as value, whatever the value available in the parameter to this variable, you can also pass like this. Okay. To populate the data to this variable. Okay. Now, instead of parameter, I'm going to use this variable. Now I have defined one parameter to accept the user input, and I have defined one local variable, right, to maintain some value, and I am passing some value to the variable, that is test value. And then again in the next line, what I am doing? I am passing parameter value to the same variable. Whatever the variable we have used here, I am passing a different parameter value to the same variable, and I am printing that value using write statement. Now can you tell me what is the expected output? Can you tell me what is the expected output if you execute this?
This is the first. This is, yes.
This is output. User parameter value it is displaying. Test value it is not displaying. Why? Because in the next line we are overwriting. We are overwriting the existing value with the new value. Okay? We are overwriting the existing value with a new value. That's why the previous value is not displaying. Okay? Now clear lv underscore var sorry, output, right? Now tell me what is the expected output? What is the expected output? I've defined a parameter to accept the user input and one local variable to maintain some value in the program runtime, and I'm passing some value to the variable, and I'm clearing the variable and displaying the output of the variable. What is the expected output? Blank. Okay, because we are clearing the value available in this variable. Okay, clear? Is everyone clear? So whatever the memory we are creating by using parameter or data statement, it is local to the application server. It is only active during a program runtime as long as the program is executed. Once the program execution is completed, memory will be deleted. Okay. So when you are writing application programs in any projects, it is very important criteria that you should use this length very efficiently, because for example, if you provide length as 100, is it going to accept it or not? It will accept 100 as a length, but the maximum value you are going to use is 40 characters. Now tell me, are we going to occupy application server memory the additional 60 characters or not? Even though we are not using that, we are occupying the memory of the application server or not?
Yes, sir. Okay.
Like that, if you provide incorrect length in multiple programs, when all these programs are executing in parallel, then it will occupy most of the application server memory and it will reduce the performance of your program execution. Okay, that's why always make sure you are providing appropriate length. What is the appropriate length for that variable or parameter? Don't give some random length or random data type. Okay, is everyone clear? Parameter to define the input, data statement to create memory for the variables. Even there are other data objects like work areas and internal tables. So first we'll see variable. It accepts a single value. Okay. Clear statement is used to clear the value of the data object. It will remove the value. Okay. Is everyone clear? Now, your program is completed. Now, if you want to see how my program is executing line by line, if you want to understand it, what you need to do? You need to debug. You need to debug your program to understand the execution of the program. What you need to do?
Set a breakpoint.
Debugging. You need to debug your program. How to debug? Here you can see a red color icon, right? Breakpoints. These are called breakpoints. One is session breakpoint. Another one is external breakpoints. Session breakpoints, we use it for the ABAP local applications. External breakpoints we use for web services and interfaces. We'll see that later. Okay. Any external calls, external program calls, we use these external breakpoints. Otherwise, we use session breakpoints. Select your line where you want to stop the controller and select this. Sorry, it should be active. To set the breakpoint, please make sure that your program is active. Set the breakpoint. Breakpoint is set. Can we set the breakpoint at line number 7 or line number 6 or line number 8? Can we keep a breakpoint? These three are not executable statements. Please understand, these three are not the executable statements. These are just data declarations. Okay, these are not the executable statements. That's why we cannot keep breakpoint here. We can only keep breakpoint from line number 9 because these are the executable statements. Clear? Now, I kept the breakpoint, or simply you can click on this gray area to set the breakpoint. Here you can see, right? Just click on here. It will set the breakpoint. Now execute the program, provide some input and execute. Observe, debugger is triggering here. Now this is the debug screen. This is the debug screen where you can debug your program line by line. Okay. These are different views available. There are different debugging views available. Views in the sense your screen layout. Okay. Select desktop 3 so that you can see a lot of variables here. Now double click on the p underscore value. Double click. You can see this value here. What is the type of this? Character
Character 20.
20. What is the value we entered in the input screen? This is the value we entered in the input screen. Right? Yes or no? And this is the hexadecimal value for this, for the actual value. Okay? Hexadecimal value for the actual value that you can see in the debug mode. Okay? Can you change the parameter value during the program runtime? Can we change the parameter value during the program runtime?
Yes, possible.
Output 1. So in the debug mode, if you want to update any values, you can update during program runtime in the debug mode. Okay, how to update? Double click on it, click on this pen symbol, change the value and press enter. Press enter to set that value. Okay. Now what about LV output? We defined it. What is the value there in LV output? Blank. Okay, there is no value in the LV output. So what is the type of it? Character 100. So we are passing this value F5. Now please observe how to debug the program. Here you can see F5, F6, F7, F8, F5, F6, F7, F8. I'll take a separate session on debugging, but this is just an introduction to the debugging. F5, F6, F7 and F8. These are the 4 keys available for the debugging. If you press F5, it will execute line by line. Okay, one by one, line by line, one by one. If you press F6, it will execute function by function. Are we using any functions here? No, we are not using any function. So it won't make any difference. It will just act as a F5. Even F6 also acts as a F5 here because we are not using any functions here. When you are using functions, you can see the difference, how F6 will work. Okay. F7, return. If you are there in some function, if you are return back to the main program, we use F7. F8, continue. It will complete the program execution in a single step. Okay. It will complete the program execution in a single step. So LV output is blank. Now controller is at line number 9. F5. I'm pressing F5 in the keyboard, or you can also press this button, F5 button. Okay. Looks like the server is slow. Okay. Now, after completion of the line number 9, it populated the value, test value to LV output. Okay. Now, where is the controller now?
Line
Line
number
number
10.
10. Now we are providing a, now we are passing a new value, F5. Press F5, F5 button, or you can also press function F5 key in your keyboard. F5. What it did? To overwritten the previous value with the new value. And what we are doing now? Line number 11. Observe this. We are clearing this variable. LV output. It cleared the value blank and we are displaying the output F8. So no output. So every time when you write a program, please try to debug it. Please keep a breakpoint and try to debug it so that you can understand the flow of the program. Okay? Is everyone clear?
Yes, sir.
Let's create one more simple program to do some arithmetic operations. What is the transaction code to create a program?
SC38.
SC38 is the transaction code. Can we create a different program with the same name?
No.
No, it won't allow. I'm just changing the name of the program. Okay. Some arithmetic operations. Create. Provide the title of the program. Select the type of the program. What type of the program we need to select?
Executable.
Executable program. To create a program which should execute independently by accepting the inputs. Okay. Save the program. We need to provide a package name. Okay. In project, we need to provide a proper package name. For now, we save the program in a local package by using local object. Okay. Now the program is created. A new program is created. Here you can maintain the text instructions or any program related notes. In the first statement of the program, it will automatically generate with report. This is mandatory. Okay. Without this, you cannot execute the program. Now, what is our requirement? To do some arithmetic operations, right? For that, what is required? Two numbers, number one and number two. You can define it as a constant value, fixed value, or you can also make it a dynamic value using which one? Parameter, right? Parameter p underscore val1 type. What is the type we need to take for calculations?
Integer.
Yes, integer. Okay. We need one more parameter, right? Second value p underscore val2 type integer. Now we have defined two parameters. First, let's test this whether this parameter option is working fine or not. Save the program, check the program and activate the program and execute the program. Parameters are displaying, right? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Now, what is the label it is displaying?
P underscore val1.
P val1, P val2. Now, let's assume I am the user. I am not a technical person, I am the user. So user is going to execute these programs, whatever the application programs we develop, end users are going to work with those programs. Now when they execute the program, they can see the screen, selection screen to enter the inputs. By looking at this p underscore val1 and p underscore val2, um, is it possible to understand what is the exact value they need to know, they need to enter? Is there any
No.
clarity? No, right? These are all just technical
No.
names. So we should not display technical names in the selection screen. For that, go to the program. We use text elements. Here you can see text elements are in go to text elements. Go to selection text. It is very important. Go to selection text. Maintain the selection text. Value 1. Some meaningful name. For example, if it is employee ID, we provide employee ID here, not p underscore emp. Okay. Value 1 and value 2. Activate this selection text, go back to the program. Now execute the program. It is displaying some meaningful label, right? Yes or
Sir.
no?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, our selection screen is working. Now what is the next step? Apply your calculations. To display the output, we need some memory value, right? We need one data object, right?
Yes, sir.
By adding these two numbers, it will generate one output or not.
Yes, sir.
Where we need to keep that output value?
Data object.
We need a variable to keep that value in a memory location. That's why we need to define one data object to hold that value. Okay. This data object's memory is active only during program runtime. LV underscore output type. What should be the type of the output?
Integer.
Integer only, right? Now calculate the. How can we calculate it? LV underscore output equal to P underscore val 1 plus P underscore val 2. Okay, clear? This will add value 1 and value 2 and keep that output value in LV output. Is everyone clear? Right? LV underscore output. Activate the program. Keep a breakpoint to debug the program. Execute the program. Selection screen is displayed before executing the program. 10, value 1 is 10 and value 2 is 20, and then execute. Controller is at line number 12. Currently the value is 0, there is no value. Press F5. What is the output value?
30.
30. Now we are displaying the output value. Like that you can do arithmetic operations. You can multiply using the star symbol. Okay. If you want to add any description for the output here, is and use comma to separate it, but this is not accepting comma here to display the multiple values. What we need to do to allow multiple values? We need to add a
Chain
chain
operator.
operator. We need to add a chain operator, this one. Then you can display, you can print multiple values in the right statement. Now let's observe the output. Execute. 10, 20, execute. 10 into 20, 200. It is multiplying the value, and before that it is displaying this output, the output value is. Okay. Like that you can add comma to display multiple values, multiple data objects, to print the multiple data objects. Is everyone clear?
Yes, sir.
How many parameters we defined in this program?
2 parameters.
Do we need to write parameter statement every time? No. You can mention only one time by using comma here, and we need to place a chain
Chain operator.
operator so that you can use same parameter to define multiple parameters. Okay. Okay. This is the output. Is everyone clear on this? Is everyone clear on this?
Yes, sir.
Now, this is how we create simple programs. Okay. Now, we'll see a few more details about the data objects. What is the data object, and how we use data objects. Variable is one kind of data object where it can accept single value. Okay. There are other types of data objects. This is variable which can accept a single value. Okay. For example, name is example for one single value, or phone number is example for one single value. How to, this is the syntax to define the variable. Data, variable name can be anything, type, data type. Okay, what is the type of this data, including length. Okay, can we change the value of the variable during program runtime?
Yes, sir.
Can we update the value? Yes, we can update the value whenever required. Constant, constant is the fixed value. Again, it's a single value and it's a fixed value. So once we define the constant, we cannot change the value of the constant during program runtime. Okay, we cannot change the value of the constant. So constant, constant name, type, data type, and we need to mention the value. What is the value we need to assign to the constant? Okay, and then work area is kind of data object. So what is work area? It's a single record. It's a single record. That record contains one or more columns or one or more fields. One record with one or more fields. So this is a record. Employee ID, employee name, and city. Three fields are here, right? In this, so we call this as a record, which contains a meaningful information about something. So we call that as work area. Okay, the program. So work area can hold one single record during program runtime. It will create a memory for one single record during program runtime. What is the difference between variable and work area?
Variable can store single value during program runtime.
Yeah, variable can store only single value during program runtime. Work area can store a complete record, right? One complete record during program runtime. Record contains one or more columns. Okay. Constant, it contains a single value and we cannot change the value of the constant during program runtime. Fixed value. Internal table. What is internal table?
More
It is
than
also a
one.
data object. It is also a data object. It can store one or more records. One or more records during program runtime. Okay.
Yes,
Record contains one or more columns. A meaningful information. Okay. Internal table contains
one or more records.
one or more records. Okay. During program runtime. Once the program execution is completed, whatever the memory created for this variable, constant, work area, internal table will be
Deleted.
deleted. Okay. This memory is temporary only during program runtime. In which layer this memory is going to be created?
Uh, Application layer.
Application layer, because the program is going to work in the application layer, right? So when we create the database table, where that space is going to be created? If you create a database table in the database layer,
The
okay?
database.
But if you create these data objects like variable, work area, constants, it will create some memory space in the application layer. Okay, as I told you, please make sure you are providing appropriate length for the data objects so that it won't occupy a lot of memory space in the application server. Okay, clear? If it is one or two programs, there is no issue, but in the projects, right, there will be hundreds of the programs available in the system, right? If all the programs are going to occupy application server space, right, there will be a timeout issues, right, and there will be a performance issues of the programs. Okay, is everyone clear about the data objects? How can we populate data to the data objects? We can populate manually like this by passing some value. Variable equal to some value, or we can populate like this by using some calculations, or we can select the data from database tables and keep that value in the data objects. Okay, we can also select data from the database tables and keep that value here. If you select single value, we keep that in the variable. If you select a complete record, we keep that in the work area. If you select multiple records, in which data objects we can keep? In the
Internal
program
table.
runtime, internal table. Okay? Is everyone clear?
So how to choose the type of that work area or internal table?
See, if it is a variable, we just provide data type and length, right? Then it will create a single value. If it is a work area, we need to provide type of the table, database table or structure name. We'll see that in the further sessions. The table or structure contains multiple columns. Okay?
Okay.
We'll see that in the further sessions.
And then debug page can be modified, sir?
Sorry?
Like we did for variables, no? In debug page. We have updated. No, sir? So that way we can modify work area. Or,
Right. Yeah, you can also modify work area and internal table. Yes. So if you want to debug, keep a breakpoint, execute F8. You press F5, the statement will be executed and populate value to LV output. If you want to change that value, click on pen symbol, change value and press enter. Okay, it will update the value. Let's say a constant. Define a constant. What is the syntax? Constant. Use some naming convention. Otherwise, you can give any name. Please remember, name can be anything. Variable name or parameter name can be anything. But always try to provide some meaningful name so that when you look at that data object, right, you should be able to identify what type of object it is. Is it a constant, parameter, or variable? For that, I'll follow some naming convention. C underscore val type C length 20. How it is different from variable? For variable, we don't need to provide any value. But here for constant, we need to fix one value. Okay. Example test. Okay. I'll provide this constant value here to display in the output with comma. Okay. Now let's debug the program, activate the program. Keep a breakpoint at executable statement. Now click on the parameters. Click on the variable. It is empty. Initially it is empty. Click on the constant. Constants is having some value, right? It is having some value, that is test, because we are fixing that value here. Is it providing any option to change the value of the constant? I can change parameter and update the new value. I can change next parameter and update the new value. I can change the variable and provide some value. Is there any option to update the constant?
it's static.
No, there is no option. So we cannot update the constant values. We cannot change the constant values. Okay. This is about the simple program, how to create a simple program. So in the next session, we'll start with the database tables, where we create tables and maintain the data. Okay, you don't need any programming knowledge for that. Whoever did not attend the previous sessions, they can also easily understand that. Okay, tomorrow we'll start creating database tables. Okay, and once we are done with the creation of database tables, right, again we'll come back to the programs to select the data from database tables and display as a output. Okay. Okay.